Call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone that's here. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of
America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gets hit. Couple times.
Okay, roll call, please.
Clerk Salubi. Ermeling.
Here.
Hackberg.
Here.
Hakes. Oh, she's excused. Manuel.
I know, yeah.
I'm sorry. Bissell.
Present.
Okay.
And Husheng is for one of the absent. We have a vacancy on the committee, so he doesn't want to move from his chair from board of trustees.
So can we just note that in the minutes that he's,
Yeah.
Husheng is serving in that role as a trustee for the same meeting?
Approval of minutes of the previous finance meeting. You can have to excuse me if I don't know names right about that here, so, okay. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve
Motion by Jim.
March 18th, 2024 finance meeting as presented.
On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Okay, item 5. Approval of minutes of previous HR meeting of February 19th, 2024.
Move to approve meeting minutes as presented, February 19th, 2024 HR meeting.
Jim, motion. Do I have a second? Okay. On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. Public comments. Now, this is the finance committee meeting and HR meeting, so is there anyone that has any comments to this meeting? Anyone online? No? Did we hear that? Acknowledge work product transmittals.
Acknowledge 789.
Would you like Jim Kensler? On the question, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, so carried. You didn't have any questions on the TIF or anything? Okay. Educational, acknowledge recent staff resignation notices. Erin Engblom, assistant planner.
Motion isn't needed on this, it's just with the combination of finance and HR, part of policy is to notice on resignations or new staff, so.
Okay.
Just noticing that Erin left us to be the transportation planner for the county.
Okay. And acknowledge recent staff hires. Peter
Barazin.
Public Works Maintainer, Carrie Edmondson, Assistant Planner, Isaac Dolan, Staff Engineer.
Again, not a motion needed, but just wanted to acknowledge Peter and Carrie have both started with us. Isaac is gonna start with us in the first part of June. So he's yet to join us, but we'll be here shortly.
Policy issues, amendment to job description for the Deputy Clerk Administrative Support Specialist. Okay.
I can handle this one. So we hired the Deputy Clerk Administrative Support Specialist last July. And at that time, when we put out the job description, we had a very small little blip in there about doing social media and Facebook. And it was very brief, very non-descriptive. It was not more of a priority in the job description. Since we hired the young lady that has taken the position, she has shown quite an interest in getting information out on Facebook and all the social media, and also putting things on the website. So we had decided to describe in more fully what job description she would have with regard to that. So that is why we're putting the amendment forth to identify her jobs in that role.
Do we need any action on this?
Yes, we would like a motion.
I just have
Okay.
a suggestion on the job description that I saw where you had included Facebook, Nextdoor, and LinkedIn. Do you want to maybe including social media, including Facebook, Nextdoor, and LinkedIn, including but not limited to, in case they wanted to do Instagram or if you decided to do Snapchat? So, and or if there's anything new that might pop up that where you're not limiting to just those three.
Okay, we can do that.
We would just need we don't have a motion on the floor yet, so
Yeah.
there would be a motion on the floor just to make that
Right.
minor change. And it's a recommendation to the board meeting. It'll be on the board meeting after this evening.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve the job description with the addition of the social media, including but not limited to Facebook, Nextdoor, and LinkedIn.
Okay, motion by Linda Hackler. Do you have a second? Second by me.
I have to say, I did notice a lot more socials from Village and it was really nice to see. It was like, I kept feeling like I was more informed about what was going on, so I
Yeah.
think it's really noticeable and it's going great.
Okay. Have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Yeah, I was gonna say too, I'm not big into the Facebook going in on, but just the newsletter and everything, it's just, Okay, item 13, 2025 budget wage adjustments.
As we move into budget season, I just want to start off and just really get a general idea of what direction the committee was thinking. Trying to hit it before we actually get deep into budget. So in the past, we've done a CPI adjustment and then we've also done an adjustment for merit. I mean, some are CPI, some are market. We have all kinds of different terms, but I just was wondering if the committee was still looking, was that a sufficient way to do it, or do we need to change the way that we're doing it? Do we want to do one or the other, or do we want to continue doing both? And when we do, if we are going to do a CPI, what metric do we want to use? That's, and at a point in time, how close should we wait to actually find that number that we want to increase for? So I was just looking for some direction from the committee.
We wanted to open the conversation tonight. If we don't have like a definitive motion tonight, that's okay. We can bring it back again next month, but we wanted to start percolating it.
Well, percolated for quite many years since I've been on the committee. We had many discussions about this and really outlining the philosophy of the village of how you want to pay your staff. When you look at merit increases, it's more based off of performance. And the CPI is going to be not really looking at that, so you're treating everyone equally. So that's a really good discussion point to start with. Do you want to do merit-based? So it's performance-based, which is really where a lot of industries are going, is to a merit-based pay increase so that the directors have the ability to differentiate their staff members, so those high performers get the wage increase versus the lower performers. It creates an incentive for your staff. Just gonna throw that out for further discussion.
Okay, you're saying you're rather than using the standard increase with, the cost of living or whatever you want to call it, viewing completely just the performance, the evaluations, okay?
I think it's difficult when you have a very small budget to differentiate both of them together. You either do one or the other. Combining them is just difficult because you have a very small merit pool to play with. Either one is fine. It's just what's the motivator for the staff.
In my organization, which is a public organization, we do CPI, but then we also have a little pool of merit-based, but it's about going above and beyond. It's not about just doing your job and doing it well. If you're just doing your normal job and doing it well, it's about taking on additional duties. It's about just kind of staying late if you like to help out, like doing something that's outside of your role necessarily. And so that's how we actually assign merit, and you have to prove it based on we have a very detailed performance management system. We work out of Taleo. And so we actually use the Taleo system to score ourselves. And then our supervisor also has to score us as well. So I think one of the things, and having been doing this with the committee for I don't remember, a couple of years now. There really isn't a performance management system. It's just kind of based on, it's very subjective, which it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I think this person did a good job, so I want to give them, which as a public organization, you got to be very careful.
That was always my concern, that it's
There's no
not just that you're
criteria.
doing a really good job. No, you're doing your job very well and
And you're going above and
and you're
beyond.
going up and beyond what your job.
That what you're doing that adds value and deserves merit. If you're doing the job you're hired to do, that in our organization does not get you any additional merit increase. That's just a suggestion, but I also recommend some kind of performance management system that's consistent across the board.
With established criteria, so you know the score and the scoring matrix then dictates the percentage increase. And you've got some really good sound criteria for your pay practice decisions.
I'll tell you, everyone thinks at our organization, every single person thinks that they deserve and exceeds excellence every time for doing the job that they were hired to do. And we say, you were hired to do this job, you agree, this is your pay in regards to that. It's if you're gonna go above and beyond for the organization is whether or not you deserve a merit raise. And consistently that you're going above and beyond. So just some recommendations from how we operate. So very few people actually get a merit increase because it is based on that system.
And excuse me,
Sure.
and do either one have CPI increases?
Yes, we do.
You do?
Yeah.
No?
No.
We call them market adjustments, so we do salary survey reviews on an annual basis, and then we see where our pay ranges are comparative to other industries like ours. And then if our staff are falling behind, then we will look to make market adjustments for particular individuals that are falling further behind in the market. However, sometimes because we're strictly performance-based pay, they might fall behind because they're lower performers. And in those situations, we do take that into consideration on, do we need to even move them to the market because they haven't received higher increases as well? So it's a full analysis we do, and we have about 300 employees. So
We do the same thing. We have no CPI and we've got a little over 1,000. And it's just, I've not seen the CPI until I was here, several years ago, quite a few years ago. And it's just, and at the time I didn't put the two together. Now at least we're talking about them together. Where before it was CPI, then, several months later came the merit.
right.
And you're right, the CPI takes away from some pretty heavy merit increases. So, okay.
The piece also related to CPI is, so last year we did approve through finance and board our salary matrix. And the salary matrix does need to adjust annually, otherwise it falls behind. And by our policy, we want to do a salary matrix about every 5 years to make sure that we are staying in line with market. So a piece of this conversation to add in is, even if the CPI isn't necessarily provided as part of that increase, we still need to decide on what we want to add to the matrix in order to keep it up to date. And then we can do market adjustments. When we did market adjustments, I think in February this year, they were either marked as market to get people to the 100% or the merit if they were over. I wouldn't say that we had a ton of merit. We stayed right around that 15,000 that we had budgeted. But we want to make sure that we keep our matrix strong going forward.
So we're moving into, we're in a different fiscal year because we're educational institutions, our fiscal start in July. Our CPI right now is 2.75. 2.75, sorry. So just so you know, that's what we're seeing.
Which
right now.
one are you using? I made a snapshot of what we have used in the
And it
past.
might have been adjusted down a little bit because of budget.
Okay,
So I'm just.
so you take the CPI, what's advertised, and then you modify it.
We might have to modify it because of budget constraints.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Inflation is going on faster than.
Last question.
Oh, I'm sure, Michael?
I've sat through a lot of I think it'd be really good for all of us to just go over the definitions of the various words. Cause some of us will use market, some use CPI, some use whatever it may be. And I think sometimes we are talking about the same thing, but we think we're talking about two different things because the word is different. So I think that's kind of been I don't know, an issue in some of the most recent years, just because we're we're internalizing what each other is saying without maybe having that good definition of, okay, this is what we're talking about. Because like you say, no, we don't do CPI, we do market adjustments. We do CPI and we call it a market adjustment, so.
I'm not sure that it's quite the same thing.
It isn't, a CPI is stands alone.
No,
Yeah.
I.
Market is something you can measure, but I mean CPI, so what do you do in a CPI if everything goes backwards? I've never seen one go backwards, ever. I've seen a zero, but then that's across the board, which our company has done several times.
Yeah.
I mean, we start off with a 4 or 5%. And I mean, you could get zero. And that's the pool for your department, and you wanna give it all to one person, you can.
Yeah.
But it's gotta be merit, you know.
I mean, in the village, we've had 0 years in the past too. It's not always a.
Well, I've been here.
Well, maybe
So.
years before that there were.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
So I just think in general, that would be good to, I think Jamie's one thought was to go through some of the handbook
Mhm.
description around it and just make sure we are defining things and working off the same definition, so we're.
CPI tends to be used more by public agencies. Market is more of a
survey.
yeah, and outside of that, CPI would be your public. That's the public basis. And that is a lot of it, and I don't know how much collective bargaining you do here is part of why that's come into play.
We don't have any at.
For us, there'd be none, but for fire and police, there would be.
I kind of like the idea of the market to make sure we're staying with them.
Hmm.
And then the merit. And
Okay.
What do we have budgeted for increases this year?
In 2025, we're just starting that process. We have nothing budgeted right now.
Last year for 2023, we budgeted for 4, we ended up at a 3, so currently. And then we budgeted the 15 in general for merit.
Yes, but we used that 1% that was budgeted.
We put over the extra percent from the 3 to the 4 into merit, because we had it already set aside.
So last year was a 3+1?
No, because that 1 didn't go across the board, it went to bring people to market and into merit.
Okay. Yep.
So it wasn't an even distribution of the 1, only the 3.
do you have any recommendations for the board? Want to discuss it at the next meeting a little more? Is the board acting on it tonight? I can't
No,
remember.
you don't
Okay, I
have to
didn't
act on it tonight, we just wanted to start the
Well,
conversation.
that's what I thought I was
Yeah.
going. I don't recall seeing that on the, but we will in the end make a recommendation.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you want to talk about this some more at the next meeting, or if you feel strong enough to make a recommendation that staff can kind of work with it.
I can just wait, there's no rush.
I think my only question is, just before we get there, I'm glad we're having this conversation, so we don't end up where we've been at and the fall of every year. How is your performance management system going to work when it comes down to?
So last year, we have an evaluation form, and that has criteria that are laid out, and then everyone had to have a satisfactory performance evaluation on file. Then what we did was that market and merit form, and we had that filled out separate if it was above the market adjustment, above the standard 3%. So that separate form had to indicate whether it was a market adjustment to get them up to 100% or a merit, and then why was it justified? That was how we facilitated it last year. I do want to make changes to the evaluation form this year to more closely align it with the values that are on our strategic plan. So that will likely be coming back, but depending on how this conversation goes, I think it's a 2-part process where you have to have a satisfactory evaluation on file. And then if you wanted to do a market or a merit, you'd have to fill out the separate form, the supervisor would, and do the justification of, because they're so low that we want to get them up to market, or that they've done above and beyond, and that's why we would be asking for merit.
In your performance review tool, I think it will, if you're gonna redo it, I think that would be a really great time to, I don't know if you get a score, like if there's a point system, but if you have a point system, that way you are equal to everyone when you're dividing up the merit base. If you decide to do a CPI plus a merit pool, anyone who scores 0 to 100 equals 1%. Anyone scores 101 to 150 is 1.5%. That way you are consistent across the board and there's no extra subjective feedback provided from the directors because you've got that sound criteria. Just a thought. But I think that part needs to get solved before that next step of the where we have more conversation, I think.
Okay, so we can
If you
refer this
don't-
to the next meeting. Okay, Jim?
Go ahead, you started.
Sorry.
You're good.
I got my hair noise. I can hear voice.
I can't see out of this side either, so we're good. Cancel each other out.
The one thing, and I know I've worked at much larger organizations that are public, but discrimination is really big when someone's supervising multiple people and they tend to like one more than the other, and then it comes out and the one person's and it's hard. That's why I really have to reiterate having a very strong evaluation, having a score-based evaluation, having very detailed reasons why. I mean, we have to go, if we give someone a merit raise, we have to go into great detail why, providing examples, providing a basis for that scoring that we gave them. And they have to do the same. It's not just one-sided. It's not just the manager evaluating them. They have to self-evaluate as well. So, and those have to align to get to where we need to go. I will tell you, every employee thinks they deserve and exceeds expectations. I'll tell you, many of them do not, but it's just the nature of the beast, I guess. But that's where you end up in those situations, like when one person is getting and exceeds expectations, the other one, and they don't see, why they're not, and they have some blinders on, so just be very careful when you do merit.
Okay, we'll bring this back for the next meeting. Oh, okay, Jim, and then Michael.
Okay, so this is my first finance or joint finance HR, so I'm trying to understand stuff, so bear with me here. So in 2023 for the 24 budget year, right, we approved X number of dollars for payroll, right? And now we're talking about for 24 to approve for the 25 budget year, X number of dollars plus a 3% or a 3 plus a merit or plus a whichever, right? Where do these extra dollars come from? So in my business, if I'm gonna pay you 3% more, I have to have 3% more
Correct.
in my checkbook to pay you 3% more. So whether that's going to every customer and saying, Mr. Customer, it's gonna be 3% more because Joe needs to get paid more because gas and groceries cost more. Or is it because our services are worth more dollars? So how do we get to that number, right? So if that number increases every year and we're receiving the same service, the same streets, same water, same all the other stuff, how do we get there? I'm not saying that the staff shouldn't be paid, but how do we justify that raise to our customers, the 16,000 people that write us a check every year?
It's a very good question.
So, Jessica, so how much does the village go up every year? Approximately.
So maybe that is why we are having budget woes for like the last 10 years. What happens is we are able to increase our taxes net new construction. Prior to last year, our state revenues haven't gone up at all. We've been able to move funds around. What does that mean? We've been putting street maintenance to CIP. We've been able to fund some of that street stuff through borrowing, through other revenues that we get in our CIP fund, not from general levy.
Payroll comes out of general levy.
Well, not all payroll, so
Mhm.
we have, next time for finance, we'll be going through our funds, we'll have accounting 101, since now everyone's on the finance HR, which we have a joint interest, which is wages and benefits for our employee, which is like 85% of our budget. So that's why we're together. But we're gonna talk about our different funds, how each fund is financed, and how in the end, the decisions here will end up in our budget recommendation to the board, so.
Our transportation aids have been going up finally again too.
The transportation is the one that has been going up, so we've been moderating where those increases go. I've been liking to put a portion of those transportation aids into our CIP fund to ensure that they're not gobbled up by operations. So when we get like, say, $100,000 increase in our transportation, I think we kept 50 in our general fund to help with ongoing stuff. And the rest went to the CIP to fund our street maintenance. So we've kind of been balancing that. The flat out question, we've really been keeping a lot of our expenditures status quo to be able to fund these wage increases. Because we cannot raise our levy 6%.
0% or net new construction.
Yes.
The-
So,
The flip side of that is understanding that I hear what you're saying, we don't necessarily have a widget that we're selling and we increase the widget 3%. All of us that work here still buy widgets from Target and they're the same price for us as they are for everyone else. It's not, we have to also balance the fact that we are in a staff market, right? Like people need staff and you have to be able to be competitive or you won't achieve getting staff. So it's a balance.
Yeah, so to that, I don't think my question was that it shouldn't happen. My question was, what are we doing so we can allow it to happen? Not, hey, it's October 15th and Jessica needs this thing by next week, so she can get it in the newspaper 14 weeks ahead of time or whatever the weird stuff is. Okay, well, I don't know, we sold some teeter totters or we did whatever we did to raise these extra dollars so that, hey, now we can pay this extra 3% or whatever that number is.
the biggest unknown is actually health insurance, which last year was a huge increase. The board agreed to fund that huge increase and not shift any more expense to the village employees. That's another way that when we're looking at total benefits to really see if in the future, should that be shared more? Can we afford taking on that as the village, or does that need to be shared more to help balance our budget?
Do you gather that information then from, I mean, do you do a
We
comparison?
don't get that information till October. So when he's talking about last minute decisions, that is a last minute thing that we need to fit in.
Right, but you do a comparison to say, okay, this is what, you know, community down, you know, in Portage County does, you know, percentage wise of the fee, you know, the costs increase. I mean,
You mean the health insurance?
yeah,
or-
for the health insurance. And so I was just curious if you have access to it through the urban league or something. I don't know.
I did too much comparison of how communities fund health insurance. I think it was done in the past and then we kept everything pretty status quo for a while.
We do have some comparison from our third party provider and they have in the past provided us, if you would go this route or offer these options, it would be this. If you would change this benefit, it would be this. So they do try to provide us other means of which to help balance out that cost. Last year though we did have a high year. Previous to that, we had several really good years.
Yeah, like 1%.
Because we're part of a much larger consortium, so it's not just us.
It's been years since I was exposed. I mean, probably about 3 years ago was the last time I was on the finance committee.
Yeah.
But I was just curious if we do have the opportunity of reviewing that information and getting it in October makes it kind of short just how things get out.
It's just the way when security releases our increase.
Yeah.
And I think they're trying to get in as much of the information to determine where their costs are gonna come in. I think that's also why they wait so far into the year. They're trying to evaluate where their numbers are at too.
Did you say you work with an insurance broker?
Yes.
Spectrum?
You had your hand up earlier.
This conversation can continue. It wasn't relevant to
Okay.
the insurance part, but
Okay.
I forgot it.
No, I know what it is. I just don't want to
Well,
interrupt
I
this
just
topic. 'cause it's
realized
back
that,
to what
you know,
was-
you hadn't gotten your hand.
How many employers are in that consortium?
Oh, I don't know, several,
A lot.
yeah.
So
Several.
you're basically all pooled together and looking at claims together as a large group.
Spectrum saw a need where the premiums and the cost wouldn't affect as smaller groups as much, so they brought them all together into a larger pool.
What pool is that? Do you have it through?
It's through Spectrum, I don't know if it has a
Spectrum?
specific name.
Spectrum, it's well into the thousands, well into the thousands. They gave us a sheet that showed us some of the partners and then they took the sheets back, so.
Yeah.
They didn't want us
Our private-
to use other companies
Sure.
and bring them up, so.
It was what, 4 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, probably
Four-
about 6 maybe, right?
Jeez.
I know, it goes fast,
Did they start paying?
but there were some pretty big groups in there.
Did you
Yeah.
start paying back?
TDS, they were supposed to pay back to us.
TDS paying us?
No, they haven't
back?
paid back yet.
They haven't
They
started.
have
They're
not
not,
achieved-
they're not at 60% yet.
No.
And probably never will.
No.
Everybody's unplugging.
Can help them to
So-
get there because we want our money back.
That's
We can
250.
help them to get there. We need our money back.
Yeah,
Okay, the only concern or request I would have is, I hope if we're doing the merit or the job review, you know, market review, that we get this done earlier rather than later.
Mhm.
Because we're always behind on that, no matter, we try, but it just always seems like we're, you know, doing the pay increases in March or April.
Last year was the best year that in the 25 years I've been involved with the village board or finance committee and everything.
Yeah,
La-
I mean,
Last
yeah,
year
it
was the
was-
best they had, right?
Right.
People, they had the great consultants involved and helping educate. Last year was the best that I can remember.
Let's keep that going.
there you go.
Yeah, so that was my only comment is, no matter what we do, as far as the pay increases, make sure that we get the information in time.
So my comment is relative to that one. So when we talk about the reviews, maybe a little different between office staff and the operations staff. I mean, for those guys, I do have, I call it a skills matrix. I should probably think of a better name for it. But it's, can you operate these pieces of equipment? Do you know how to do these tasks? Can you set up concrete forms? Can you start the patch machine? Like, what equipment can you all operate? What skill sets? Do you know how to set grades and, for a storm sewer project? So we do have that element there where they do self-evaluate themselves and then we review it with them. And then throughout the summer, we work on trying to help those people learn new skills and kind of hone that. So the senior guys are kind of tasked with training some of the newer employees on how to do their tasks. So we do have that in place. The office staff is maybe a little harder, But, and then to the other question of how do we get money? In recent years, that's where we've looked at doing more work in-house. We've had contracts where, to do I'll use curb and gutter, 50 feet of curb and gutter, all of a sudden you got a $10,000 proposal and you're like, that's a lot of money to do that little bit of work. So we've gone out and we've learned how to do that ourselves. And, so we look at how can we do more with the same money we have versus trying to, I guess, find more revenue sources. It's how do we stretch our expenses further?
Anything else or any other comments? Okay, well then we'll have this on the next agenda for discussion and possible action. Okay. All good? Okay, there are no resolutions or ordinances. Future items, next meeting date would be June 17th at 4:30, because there would not be.
No tourism, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
I was gonna say recreation, I'm going, no, it's not, tourism meeting, so that is usually done on quarterly, but last month we didn't have quorums. Okay, and topics for future meetings would be in the wage. Any other things? Remarks from staff?
Yeah, in the minutes, it talked about the type of pay frequency for committee and commission members. It was listed in the last meeting minutes. I didn't see anything about that on this agenda. Can we get that on the next month's agenda?
I wanted to, that was brought up by President Maloney. I kind of wanted to do a survey with, because it would only affect the committee members, with just the committee members to see, do they want to be paid monthly? Do they prefer to be paid annually? Just to see where, if it was a concern.
So can those results of the survey be presented at the next finance and HR committee?
I can make that a goal.
And commissions too. Commissions too, okay. I mean, we used to pay, I thought monthly,
No.
and then everyone said, oh, you know, it's just a small little check. Well, I mean, we could have went quarterly or maybe half. I just thought, I don't care how much it is, I'm not waiting a year for my money. I just think it's silly. And, you know, if you wanna think of it as a Christmas, you know, deal, whatever, there's no interest. I don't like the government use my money either. So in that sense, the government is using my money. And we get paid every month as elected officials. So we have these great service and volunteers darn near, they volunteer all year long to finally get that paycheck. And I know, Steve, what is it, just off the cuff, how much?
I have no idea.
Oh, stop it.
No, I was surprised that I got paid in December last year, so
Yeah.
I didn't even.
I mean, so if you're on what is it, 40 for a committee and 50 for a commission, I think, right, Jessica? So if you go to, you know, 12 a year, that's $600 on a commission, and I can't do the math fast enough, but $400 or $500. I don't know. I don't know. It just rubs me the wrong way. I can't help it.
But on the flip side, I wouldn't want her to have to cut or do wires on those.
How about just a direct deposit?
Yeah, but.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't get checks anymore, right? We do?
No, we do not.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, it's not an option. It's gotta be direct deposit. No, it's just a couple, do it and stop.
So look for, it likely will just be one question. Do you prefer being paid yearly? Would you like to be paid monthly?
Or quarterly.
Or quarterly.
Or
half.
I could add
Yeah.
quarterly too.
Yeah. Yeah, or even every 6 months or every, you know.
All of the above?
Yeah. You'll give them a
Every
choice.
year cutting checks.
You know, monthly, quarterly,
Or annually.
and annual or biannual.
Yeah.
All options. Okay. Remarks from committee members.
Just want to welcome aboard the, well, 2 and 1 that didn't start yet, staff members. Wish you all the best. Thank you.
Same, I'm glad to see this committee is together. That was when I left the county, I was on the personnel committee. And when I left, they asked what was my recommendation. And I said, my recommendation is to combine finance and HR.
That makes sense.
Next recommendation.
And they did the next year. I couldn't believe this. Okay, any other comments from the committee? All righty, any announcements? None, all right. Adjourn the Finance and Human Resource Committee.
Motion to adjourn the Finance and Human Resource Committee.
By Linda. Second.
I'll second that.
Steve. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you. Welcome aboard.
Thank you.
It's nice to have.
Call to order and, wait, am I in the right one? Yes, call to order and welcome all the members, and Mary Hanford is our new Tourism Commission member from the Jaworski Hotel Group. I think all of them, or specifically GM with
Specifically.
the Fairfield by Marriott. I got it right. Welcome aboard. So we have Dino Corvino, we have Barb Ermeling, Mary Hanford, myself, Jamie Wyland, and Husheng Zagami on this commission. And the first thing of order is elect a chairperson, vice chairperson, and a secretary.
Nominate Mark Mayne here.
I can't hear you. The tape recorder must not be working. What was that? I'm sorry. Okay, all right.
I'll second.
So nomination by Barb Ermeling for myself and a second by Wyland. Anybody have any discussion? I will accept. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Looking for a vice chairman.
Person.
Who was vice last? Was it you? I'll nominate Barb Ermeling for vice chair
Second them.
by Husheng Zagami. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. And last is secretary. And you need to nominate Jamie Wyland. I'll second that. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Wait.
Sorry, I just had to get rid of my gum. I thought I had it going before. All right, so we now have chair and vice chair and secretary. All done? Please turn
No,
on.
but we
Yeah.
pledge in the roll call. again.
Oh, no, pledge is done. I don't see a pledge on here, but approval of minutes from previous meeting.
Move to approve.
Right, move to approve by Zagami,
I'll second that.
second by Corvino. Anything on the discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Mary, I will not call on you for several meetings, so then you'll get the hang of this, okay? Or maybe you do already. Public comments, anything on public comments? I do have one here from Mr. Jim Pincinot. Jim, I don't have any others unless we have some online. Jim, you want to state your name and address for the record?
I do. Good evening, Jim Pentinel, 5002 Arrow Street. So my comments this evening are in regard to the financing for the Wausau Botanical Gardens. How disrespectful and dishonest for an organization to request funds under the guise of a completely different business model. Yes, I said business model. You see this, the garden formerly known as Monk is a for-profit organization attempting to ride on the coattails of a not-for-profit and community-based botanical garden. This same organization recently removed the Monk name from the title and instead chose to rebrand as the Wausau Botanical Gardens. With that being said, first off, this request is invalid and does not meet the requirements established by the Village of Weston Tourism Commission. The requesting entity no longer will. Monk Botanical Gardens is actually requesting money to benefit the for-profit entity Wausau Botanical Gardens. This in and of itself makes the request unable to be lawfully fulfilled. Second, with all the controversial nature of the current direction the Wausau Botanical Gardens is headed down, I do not see this beneficial to tourism for the Weston area. If or when the organization has a complete overhaul of their poor leadership and wishes to present a request to the commission for consideration, it can be brought back. But as for a 2024 request, anything but full denial is a slap in the face of the real not-for-profit entities operating in central Wisconsin who are interested in making a positive impact in the community. Third, the application highlights a Babe Mount Inn on two separate occasions. The Village of Weston
Inn. You may see this as a simple spelling.
But if a $10,000 request was that important for the event to be successful, wouldn't you have had all 10 board members and the executive director proofread the lengthy 4-page application?
By errors and omissions. I assure you, if this were a job application and the name of the applicant and the name of the
Were listed as not factual, they would not be considered for employment. Finally, the ask of $10,000 for a potential of 6,000 participants is insane. To put this into perspective, the Taste and Glow event discussed this evening on the agenda is also requesting $10,000. They have a proven 10 times number of participants and actually have historically reportable hotel rooms booked in the village. I would strongly recommend against the approval of this request for funding for the Wausau Botanical Gardens, who falsified their applications to read Monk Botanical Gardens. Funny how the Monk part shows back up in the title when donations are being solicited. Thank you.
Okay. There's no discussion, no answer back and forth. Any more in public comments? Anybody online? Yes.
Chairman, we did have an email that was sent. I think there was copies in the back of the email.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yep, so all the committee members
I
also.
would imagine that this commission received upwards to 30 or 40. I did, and probably 20 phone calls also. And just over the weekend. And then before that, whenever it hit the paper and stuff. So if I should put those in public record, I'll send them all because I think we got them all the same. But I'll do that. So to read them all, it's all the same. It's all denied, 100%. So I'll just leave it at that. Is that okay? Okay. Let's see. So public comments, hearing no more with public comments, we'll move on. Acknowledge the work product transmittals. Number 7, April budget status report.
A motion to acknowledge.
A motion to acknowledge by Ermeling,
Second.
second by Zagami. Anything on the question? Did you want to add anything? No? Okay. All those, hearing no discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. CVB reports, number 8.
Hello,
Mhm.
Tim White, 225-721 Swan Avenue, Rib Mountain, Wisconsin, 54401. Obviously, you've been able to review our financial reports that we give every quarter, and we a number of things to just talk about really quickly. Wednesday, if you've not signed up for our annual tourism lunch, I would invite you to. We'll be previewing a number of new rollouts and giving some really good reports, and have a panel of area stakeholders talking about how to develop our destination and make it a better place to attract more visitors and ultimately more residents, workers, and people to invest in the area. Thank you for your support. Obviously, as we all know, the fourth quarter and going into the first quarter was down. January is down about 15% in terms of room tax revenue. We basically attribute that to the weather challenges that we had. We were able to stem the tide a little bit more than those places up north who solely, rely on snowmobiling. And they were really devastating. But we did, including Jamie, we did meet a number of the economic and admins in the area. And we talked to Lita to potentially see what the resources were that we could potentially offer any local businesses that might have been affected by the weather. We really didn't know of any, but we kept our ears open, and it was more really up north. But we were aware of that. It also changed our marketing tactics a little bit. We started marketing things to do that were weatherproof, that didn't depend on the weather. And so we even made some funny marketing things about, skiing in the grass and that kind of thing, just for fun. But it also allowed us to be able to continue to have the perspective as the destination marketing organization of making sure that we are looking at, being flexible depending upon the weather. So we've been talking with our outdoor rec vendors, the event organizations about if inclement weather or if lack of weather happens, how can we provide a plan B that will continue to draw people in. Also, the indoor options for people is really important. And so talking about that with the Greenheck Center is well on track. We took a tour of that. It's amazing. Aaron from Greenheck and Jody went to Sports ETA in Oregon and got a number of leads from national events to potentially bring back to the Greenheck Center, which is exciting.
Just real quick, it is Greenheck Turner.
Green Egg Turner, yes.
Because it'd be like calling the Packers the Green Packers. You know, so I just wanna, it is a namesake. It is the Green Hex and Scott Turner,
Okay.
the son-in-law, so it's
Green Egg
Green
Turner.
Hex Turner, yes, okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mark.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, Mark Maloney, there you go.
So, yeah, and speaking of, names, that's another good segue too. Though, I'll talk a little bit more about some other things too, but the Monk Gardens topic is very interesting in terms of, there's a lot of disinformation. Hopefully Darcy will bring up some of the things that are true. I don't believe that anything that the Monkwasa Botanical Gardens is for profit, to my knowledge, that is taking marketing dollars.
Are you gonna be talking about all the requests tonight?
No,
Then I don't think you should be talking about this one,
okay.
okay? Thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah. Well, okay, well, contextually, I've been working with them.
Well, you've been working with them all, right?
Yep.
Okay, so, I mean, if you're gonna do a commercial, you gotta do a commercial for all, so, that's all, I think you should, so.
Yeah, okay, I can.
I mean, I know you're for it, I know you came out and you were quoted along with the chamber that you were for it.
Well,
And,
it's
but
not-
you haven't been brought up in all the discussion, nor has the chamber. Just the
Yeah,
botanical board, so, but we gotta leave it unless we're gonna talk about the other four. And I think that's just only fair.
yeah,
You're
well,
not here to cheerlead any one particular group or all of them.
I'm not really cheerleading the name, change to Wausau Botanic Gardens.
Mhm.
Actually, I don't think that was a wise decision, so.
But
I gotta
that's
listen to this Weston meeting.
not true. That's not true because you were quoted in the very beginning when it was Wausau Botanic Gardens. You were encouraging it and in favor of it,
I mean,
along with the chamber.
yeah, we were in favor
But then
of,
nothing else was said after that. I think we gotta stop. Okay, yep. I mean, just, you're talking about the whole CDB as a whole, not any one entity.
to go back to all the events for all the grants. A number of these events don't happen in Weston. And so, but, I think the 10,000-foot picture of what we all do here, you supporting events with the tourism dollars and us promoting the events and the attractions in the area are all about the community at large. So I think one of the things that people make, people have made mistakes or been things that have happened, like even with the Taste and Glow. And we've been encouraging organizations to make sure that they listen to everybody, in terms of all the community, because all these events and all these things that happen are really owned by the community. And so to listen and to get input, it's totally fine to change. We worked with Taste and Glow to help things change and deal with some of the inner issues of that too. So, our job is to help develop the destination, help to work with every organization to help them make.
Yep, go ahead. Dino?
So I assume we're gonna talk about the Monk issue later.
Yep.
But I just wanna sort of stand with Tim a little bit. Because one of the nature of his organization is that, like a chamber or anything else, he has to advocate for the larger vision. And I think that, speaking up, giving context to the discussion around what we're gonna talk about later, I think that's fair for him to do. I would say, I wouldn't advise you to do it, but I think it is his role to sort of, as a professional, to give some context to the situation that's happening with a business that he's a charter for. But I think that we're gonna talk about all of that later on too.
Yeah, of course.
You have more,
My point
you
was
have-
that.
you have more with the CBB that you wanna report on?
So we're adding some new tools. One of the things that we're gonna be adding is a booking direct tool off our website so that the hotels can get a direct benefit. We did a lot of research and found that if people who go to visit Wausau can book right from our website, they will do so very quickly. All the rates of the hotels, the area hotels will show up as well. One white paper showed that a destination that had even less hotels than we do gained $800,000 in revenue. And I'm sure we'll all take that kind of payout for room tax and revenue, so.
So in other words, to the CVB.
No, to the municipalities, to everybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're looking for ways to initiate and continue to build up the visitor experience so that when they like something they see, they can, you know, from a sales standpoint, right? We can ask for the sale right away, so.
Okay.
And there'll be other things on Wednesday. I encourage you to be able to.
Is that Granite Peak, right?
Yep, Granite Peak, 12 to 1:30.
Okay.
And that's it.
Well, I have something to add. So, if we're trying so hard for this whole area. And, you know, I don't believe we're running on all cylinders. I mean, Weston is paying the most, from any other community. And then one community is paying none. And they're not involved. And I asked you 6 months ago that I would be more than happy to go with you and sell them. And I have heard nothing. In the meantime, we have merged police departments, which is unheard of. To merge a police department is unbelievable, and we did it within 6 months. And I just can't thank the board here. I can't thank the community of Rothschild and Weston and all the other communities here involved. But it's done. May 1st, it was done. And it's incredible. It ain't getting much play, but it's really good for the whole area. And that was really, really hard compared to talking to Rothschild. I'll go with you anytime you want. I'll sit down with them.
I've been gone traveling for a couple months, and then for 7 months, 8 months, I had eye issues where I couldn't see, so it was, you know.
Yeah, we had lunch when you had eye problems.
Yeah, so
Yep.
I talked to Jamie.
I'm just saying that there's a lot out there that
Oh,
could be
yeah,
contributed.
and I'm all for it.
And they've got a great area out there that they would probably wanna join us all in.
I love it. I love it.
All right, any questions of Tim? Any more? Dino, any? No? Okay. Who is signed up for Green Hack, excuse me, and if I say Green Hack, I have to say Turner.
That's right.
So, Granite Peak, who is going? You?
Sean,
You?
yeah,
You? Okay,
and
good.
Jennifer too from
Okay,
staff.
excellent. So we'll have a good representation there. So,
Good.
good.
Awesome.
Excellent. Thank
See
you.
then.
Yep. Let's see, moving on from the CDP, we're moving on to educational presentations and reports, number 9. Hmong Wausau Festival. We have anybody in the audience here?
Yes,
Oh.
I am here.
Sorry,
Sorry, sorry everyone, I apologize. I wanted to be there in person, but today's actually my birthday, so I'm actually out. I'm doing a lot of things today as well, but just want to start off by saying a big thank you to the Village of Weston for the continued support of the Hmong Wausau Festival as well too. And you know, in the past few years here, the Village of Weston has been very instrumental in allowing the Hmong Wausau Festival to grow to become the largest Hmong festival in the entire state of Wisconsin here. Now we have now beat Oshkosh's Labor Day Festival, which is was considered the largest one in the state of Wisconsin, but we have now beat them. Was generating over 14,000 people that comes to our event, booking out hotels, you know, and you really utilizing money in the local area here. You know, can everybody hear me? Just want to make sure.
Are you there?
Yes, can you hear me? Oh,
Or just muted or?
hello, can you hear me? Can you hear me?
No, that's disconnected. Oh, it disconnected? Okay.
Oh, no, money generated.
Just parked there once. I've been there several times. I know who Shane has, I know Barb has. I don't know who else has, but it's quite amazing. I gained 5 pounds just.
Unbelievable. So I have $10,000 for an ask, but this committee can go over 10,000. Oh, Yi, are you there?
I'm fine, 10 minutes.
Yi, are you there?
It's connecting.
Oh, okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
So let's just go back to this let's go back to this birthday. Is it today?
Yes, it is today. So, just want to apologize.
I thought last Tuesday was your birthday.
No, we did a celebrate. We did a birthday fundraiser, but I didn't want it to be today because I wanted a day off, and I didn't want it to be tomorrow because I have a county board meeting. So I didn't want to skip out on county board meeting. So that's why we did that.
Just teasing, just teasing. So he had a restaurant fundraiser over at that Faux Garden or Faux Noodles or something, so. I don't, if you've been there, you've seen it, you wanna make a motion or what do you
I'll
wanna do?
make a motion to approve the grant request of $10,000 to the Hmong American Center Inc. for the Hmong Wassa Festival.
Okay, motion by Ermeling,
Second.
second by Wyland. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank
Congratulations.
you very much.
Thank you. Enjoy your birthday. What are you, 30?
Officially 30, yes. So thank you, everyone.
All my kids are older than him. So it's pretty wild. Yeah, yours are too.
Great.
Yeah, right. Number 10, Blossom of Lights, Monk Botanical Gardens, request of $10,000. Darcy, I think you're here. Yep, I know you're here. Just state your name and address for the record, please.
Darcy Howard, 1488 28 Gooseberry Drive, Wausau 54401.
Okay.
Well, as Tim started to mention, there's a lot of misinformation out there, so I am happy to answer some questions if there are some specific questions out there.
Any questions by the board?
Well, I've questioned this particular one several times because I just do not feel that this particular event actually fills hotel rooms.
So the event this year has extended, so it's gonna be 6 weeks. We had bad weather last year. It rained every single weekend and we were running Thursday through Saturday in October. So we've extended it to 6 weeks and to Wednesday through Saturday, which will start mid-September. It'll be less expensive on Wednesdays and Thursdays to encourage more local people. But then we have, we've been working with hotels. We worked with hotels last year. I know Fairfield was under construction at the time, to try and get discounts and work, for heads and beds, I guess. We have, all of the other municipalities have contributed. And I received a $29,000 GEM grant as well. So the state also is supporting this event. And this is in its third year. Each year, we are able to add more to it, making it larger. And this year it'll be a variety of interactive displays, especially focused on children.
So this is the third year. So the first year was 5,000 and I was on this commission then. And I felt at that time, never been on the commission before, that I felt Weston should broaden its horizon. I mean, just help out other communities. That we're not just Weston. I know these dollars are intended for just Weston and for our hotels. But we did. So we made several of different events, but then the next year it doubled to 10. I don't ever remember hearing, and I wasn't on the board, but I was here that night. I don't remember a whole lot about why. I mean, that's a big increase, especially when we're ceilinged out with the Hmong celebration, and it's monstrous. It's huge. The Taste and Glow is also very, very large too. To be at that same level, and it's just not.
We have to match our GEM grant, and so that's one of the reasons for the increase. It wouldn't be the amount we would ask for in the future. This is the last year we can receive that GEM grant.
So did you get the GEM grant last year?
Yeah.
Okay. So the GEM grant, I mean, that's your deal to match. It's really not up to the communities to have to do it, but for myself on this commission, it has been not once did I get called, Darcy, on yes. Not once. A lot of different people across the whole community, and from all kinds of different reasons. I can't be convinced to vote yes, and so I will be voting no.
Well, I would like to at least get some facts out there that were already said during this meeting. One, we're a nonprofit, we're a 501c3. We're the same program that we've been doing for 21 years. The staff was finally hired in 2017, and last year we had 64,000 visitors that brought $4.8 million to the surrounding community. We are significant. And we're talking about a name change that was done for marketing reasons. The official name has never changed, which is Robert W. Monk Inc. So there was no falsifying within the application.
So you're using that name, but it's not marketed. So that's business as
Yeah, it's
Wausau
doing
Botanic Garden.
business as.
Okay.
And last week, the board made a statement that we were gonna go back to Monk Botanical Gardens to go back to a process that would include Robert W. Monk and also Wausau within the name. So, and that is a lot of it to hop on to, visit Wausau, but also because the name Monk has been a problem. We have people showing up looking for monastery. We have people that think it's someone's personal backyard. It was identified from a professional company that interviewed 60 different people in 2020, leaders that said it's a problem. And the board made a decision, a business decision.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a marketing issue? I mean, what if the same issue with the Laoki Museum?
We don't have a
What if-
big endowment, we don't have,
What if the Green Hack Ice Arena, everyone thought they were going to the Green Hack Fan Corporation?
again, we're not the Green Hack Fan, we're a small nonprofit, and often marketing funds are the hardest to get.
You know?
So Darcy, I don't want to speak to the controversy because I imagine that's occupied your life for the last, I don't even know how long.
Well, I
it was.
appreciate that.
A while. But I do think it's important for what I struggled with when this came in the packet. So I directly emailed you from my Village of Weston email account to ask you a question about the strategic plan. And you didn't respond. Okay, and that's fair, that's fair. The other part of my decision-making, and I think it's important to acknowledge because of context, the quotes put forth by the board president in the media don't reflect a place within the community, right? It's defiant at the very least, and as a former journalist, I understand that she might have said other things, and those are just the juiciest of the juicy.
Our board president is a male, so I'm not
Oh,
sure
I'm
what
sorry.
you're talking about.
A lady with
Board
3
member
names.
is, with Clark, I think it
A
was.
lady with 3 names.
Yeah. The
Okay,
high voted.
she is a board member.
Yeah,
not
sorry.
board president. She also is a board member that sat next to Bob Monk to negotiate
Yeah.
the entire transfer and knows more than anybody in this room, including me, about that
Okay,
process.
all right, cool, then I'm good.
Yeah, I'm
Darcy.
actually, I'm actually very good too.
I'll just say that.
Yeah,
never mind.
You,
I really want to vote for you, but I mean, telling me that I don't know as much as everybody in the room, but ultimately I'm the one voting for the money, so you should try to de-escalate it with us a little bit.
I'm talking about a board member who has 21 years' experience dealing in this situation.
I've got a neighbor of mine.
Okay.
That's a master gardener who's volunteered there forever. And I just asked her what she thought. And she says, you wouldn't know her by name. You've never said hello to her, ever. And she's a volunteer.
We have 150 volunteers. I have no offices
That's
on
called-
site.
that's called
I can't even
free
be
labor.
on site.
That's called free labor. And she.
Mr. Chair, I
yeah.
think we should call the question.
Yeah, I will, but one more question.
Yeah,
Go
well,
ahead.
I guess, I mean, there was other, I in the end almost quit reading some of the stuff because I thought, well, I don't know what's facts and fiction here, but one of the things, and it was a board member, I don't remember the name, but it really upset me is because they said that that Monk Gardens does not receive any help from any municipality. And then And I'm going, wait a minute, what do you mean you're not receiving any help? Isn't our money that we've donated in the past? I mean, if it didn't help, where did it go?
I think the issue was, the question out there was that people thought we were part of Wausau.
Well, I know I
That
got
one,
comments.
and I think that that's what was meant. It certainly was not to insult or, decrease the commitment that you guys have made in the past.
I think the person even quoted that we don't get any help from Wausau or Weston or whatever, and I thought,
I don't
well.
recall that.
yeah,
All right,
well,
the question's been
that-
called.
Okay.
What's your pleasure?
I move to reject this request.
Rejection by, motion by Corvino to reject. Second by Wyland on the question. Any more on discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. All right, let's move on to number 11, Gigi's Playhouse. I have a request in here for $2,500. Motion to approve by Ermeling. Second by Wyland. Anything on the question? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried.
Thank
Wausau.
you.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you. Great event.
Thank you. If anyone's available, June 8th, make a team. Get dressed up. Wear a tutu.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Number 12, Wausau Pride, a request of $1,500 in Wausau.
Do we have any proof that this fills hotel rooms in our area?
We asked 1 or 2 years ago, we had a board member that actually asked, and I don't really think we got a lot of reply. I know, one time we actually asked is there anybody here tonight? Would like to speak on this?
I am. Could I speak to that?
Just hold, just one more thing then, because then you can do to both of them. Wasn't last year or the year before the one that was actually questioned if the event actually happened? And
The events always happen. So
not-
this is our. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
This is our 3rd year. I took over as chair. Hi, I'm Tiffany. I'm a local nonprofit leader in the area and volunteer my time for Pride. So I am the chair that took over in April. So this is our 3rd year of the event. The first year was our first year. It was smaller. We had family activities in downtown Wausau. The second year ramped up quite a bit. We had a very large performer, a internationally known performer booked for the Grand Theater. They canceled their entire tour, which included our stop. So we pivoted and did a smaller scale event in Wausau. This 3rd year, we have now booked a very large name in that world, whether or not that matters to you. We are the first Pride event in the entire state. And we have some performers booked that will draw in crowds. I'm sorry, what?
Who's the performer?
The performer is Sophia Cristal. She just placed 2nd on RuPaul's Drag Race that aired on MTV.
Is she a drag queen?
Right, there is a performer coming that is a drag queen, correct. Our event is taking place at the Central Wisconsin Expo Center in Rothschild. So we are expecting not only hotels in Wausau because of the family-friendly Pride event happening in the 400 block, but because the show is taking place in Rothschild and does have quite a large reach. We're expecting 600 to 800 attendees and from all over the state, because again, Wausau is home of the first event in the entire state.
Okay.
For the month of Pride Month.
So
talking strictly economically, not putting in what that is and your personal feelings on it, it's going to have a really big impact. And we're expecting at least 120 hotel stays.
120 hotel stays with 600 to 800 people coming?
Correct.
And that's in Rothschild. So can I ask you what Rothschild has donated from their hotel funds?
Yes, you can. I have my budget. You're gonna have to wait just a second because,
Right up on the screen. 7,500 from Wassa, 2,500 from Rothschild, and 1,500 from.
thank you. Thank you.
Those are committed already for this year, correct?
Correct.
Thank you.
So there is community buy-in, for reference, as far as how we're projecting the hotel stays. We had sold over 700 tickets last year. It was reasons way out of our control, you know, that management and the performer had canceled their entire tour. It wasn't just a walk-off thing. That's why we feel so confident going into it with those numbers.
Okay. Any questions?
Do they advertise any of the Weston hotels in their brochures?
It's already on our website.
Which ones?
The American in Weston is on our website right now, and a few others. I don't have them all memorized. Yeah, American on in Weston. The Jefferson Street Inn is of course listed. The Holiday Inn in Rothschild, Banter and Rothschild, and then it's American for Weston. They set up block rates for us.
Okay. Any more questions?
I just feel like
Mhm.
this appeals to less than 5% of the population, and I just don't think that we're going to.
Less than 5% of what population?
Heads on beds in the Weston area, so I'm going to reject this motion.
Are you making a motion to reject?
I want to
Okay.
reject the motion.
Motion by Wyland to reject. Is there a second? Is there a second? Second by Zagami. Any more on the question? Any more on the question?
I guess.
Hearing none?
Well, I
Okay.
guess we're looking at hotel stays.
Yes. Mhm.
That's all I'm.
Well, the
looking at.
hotels are paying for it. The hotels are
Well,
paying for it
that's-
from their guests. Yeah.
That's what
I
I'm
know.
getting at, so I'm not whether for
Okay.
or against whatever.
All right, we have a motion and a second to reject. Hearing no more on the discussion. All those in favor of rejecting, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
No, so
I'm
you're,
opposed. I'm opposing.
you're
I'm
opposing the
pro-
rejection,
I'm
opposing the
pro-giving.
rejection. Mary, did I hear you?
Opposing rejection.
Okay, so it's a 3-3, so it fails. The motion fails and the amount fails because it's a 3-3 tie, right? Yes, that's a problem with having 6. Okay, so that is rejected. 13, thank you. Taste and Glow Balloon Festival in Stettin, I believe, same place as last time or not?
Yes, it is.
Okay, oh, hey, I saw you on the TV last night. On the TV, wow.
Scared you.
Yeah, no, not really. Okay. Just state your name and address for record,
Okay.
please.
My name is Randy Thurs.
Okay,
My address is 6525 North 52nd, Wausau.
okay,
Okay. I'm on the vice president of the Taste and Glow, and I'm also the president of the Trailmade Snowmobile Club,
okay.
where the property is held on. This will be, first of all, I want to say thank you for supporting us the last 3 years. Thank you very much. It's become a big event. It started out as, I got a phone call asking if our snowmobile club would be willing to have that on our property.
Mhm.
And I said yes.
Mhm.
And it's continued to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And for last year was we really rocked it last year, and it went really well. I'm sure you heard some of the controversy things that have gone over the years, but our board decided to continue with it. And we are getting good support from the community and stuff like that. So
The couple that was running it prior.
Steve and Nancy?
Yeah.
Yep.
Are they involved?
No.
No, okay. Are
They,
you confident that you can pull it off like they did?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, no problem. We are probably, as a board, we're probably are being a little more together on things, okay? It's right now we have, I think roughly 35 food vendors are already committed to come. We are getting balloons from farther away. I don't want to get into politics of what happened there, okay? But if you want to know, I'll tell you.
That's right.
And we're getting food, craft vendors and new this year.
We have the log rollers, of course, we had last year, and we're gonna have the log show, car show. And also new this year we're adding is, out in the town as a team, we can't have fireworks because of horses and out in the country and animals and have that issue. So we are gonna have a drone show.
Excuse me?
A drone
Okay,
show.
yeah,
We're gonna have 150 drones up in the air at one time. And we think that's gonna be exciting. It's really not, Weston had a little one last year, but we think with this show, the companies come out of Milwaukee and this thing is gonna be pretty nice.
What other communities have committed so far?
Right now we have Red Mountain, Wausau. Here.
Do you have dollars on that?
Yeah, they're all 10,000 each.
$10,000 each on Rib Mountain and Wausau?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
How about the little buses that came around, I thought you would.
We are gonna have some,
You will do those? Okay.
so I think 2 for sure.
Uh-huh.
We decide exactly what townships we're going to?
Yeah, last year we did the bus to 4 different municipalities.
Right.
And we asked the bus company to keep track of how many people were utilizing them. And there were 2 of them that just didn't do very well at all.
Okay.
The cost of it and for staffing and busing purposes, we have to cut it down to 2 for this year.
Yeah, I just heard nothing but good, and I'm sure those people used the 2 that were, they just said it was very busy. They just couldn't believe what a value it was.
Yeah.
And so where I went last year to this event, I went the night before, which was nice. You certainly don't have to do that. But that's the same place. Oh, wow. Oh, man. I was,
Got better signage?
no pun intended, but I was blown away.
Yeah, actually, the landowner across the street, they agreed to let us use his land again this year for parking.
Okay.
And we have a surveying group, Beerlin, he is gonna come out there and mark the property, and we're looking at having like road signs, so you on your vehicle, you can say I'm at Weston Lane, okay, whatever, and so you should remember that, I hope.
I see.
Not get lost in the parking lot.
So Breland, Michael is the one we use, right? Yeah, okay. Okay, good.
So yeah, it's an interesting event now. We have a little snowball club said yes to this thing, and now
Well, you're not a little snowmobile club.
we created a.
That I learned,
So,
yeah.
so.
Okay.
Parking, my nephew always helps out on your parking.
Parking was huge, yeah.
Now we get your son Brian out there, we'd be doing something.
See?
Pulling the whole family.
Yeah, you got my nephew and his wife that work.
Well, any more questions? No? Okay, what's your pleasure? Motion to approve your evening. Second by Wyland. Any more on the discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
Hope to see you out there.
I'll be out there. Thank you. That was very nice. My grandkids loved it. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess I know the answer and I don't know the answer, and this has nothing, on the Wassa Pride, by being a tie vote, I know the motion failed.
Right.
But couldn't we have made the motion to approve it and hope that one of you changed your mind? Because technically,
It would have to be one of the 3 to bring it back.
Yeah.
Mhm.
because by making it fail, you won. Technically, you won.
No,
It
it
passed.
failed. It failed. Like,
No, but
like any other vote where a tie vote happens or
Right.
we have a missing member, it's a fail, you know, so.
But Mike, the
Yeah.
motion was to
reject.
to
Yep.
reject.
Yep.
And that action succeeds by the tie.
True, but it is a tie and it's a 3-3 failure. It's, no one won. I'm sorry, Robert's Rules of Order, page 38. So I have no clue if it's on 38, so.
I'm gonna look it up.
All right, moving on to, what time do we have here? 5:42. Policy issues, I see none. Resolutions and ordinances, I see none. Next meeting date is July 15th, just because we missed the last one, that's why we have such a quick one. Mary, are you up for this? Is this cool? You're okay? This is probably the most contentious meeting we've ever had. So it's probably gonna get nothing but better from here, okay? Next regular meeting is July 15th, 2024, 4:15, immediately following the finance. Topics for future meetings, I'm sure we'll have more requests from Ms. McGuire and Tim. Topics for future remarks from staff. Any remarks from staff? No? Any remarks from Jamie?
I'm
Nope.
good, thank you.
Remarks from commission members? Dino? No. Jamie?
Not at this time.
No. And about Mary? First chance to make a remark. Glad to be here or something like that? No? Okay. I love your hotel. Husheng?
No, thank
No?
you.
Okay, Barb?
Maybe,
What?
she said, none of in this room know as much as Vicky.
Mhm.
She wasn't even here to understand that.
Mhm.
Vicky wasn't even on the board.
Mhm.
And Bob Monk came and
Yeah.
asked to consider his property.
I know you've been on that a long, long time, and I know it's dear to your heart. And that it's gotta be hard.
It
for
is.
What you see.
It is.
I believe that.
Thank you.
Nothing from me. Let's see, any announcements? I don't think so. I'll see you all in July. Looking for a motion to adjourn. By Mary and seconded by Ermeling. Motion to adjourn. All say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. Good. Hey.